Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your man Pristine back with another video. So welcome to the thoughts and impressions video for the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. Yes, I'm still on this, y'all. Like I said in previous videos, I didn't pick this up because of the price. I couldn't really understand why Huawei went from $599, which is an excellent price for this device, for the Mate 9 last year, and then this year they bumped the price up to $799 for the Mate 10 Pro. I get it. I understand that that's the price point where a lot of the major flagships are nowadays, and so they want to, this is a phone competing with a lot of those devices, and so they want to price it as such, and I understand that. But at the same time, when you've got your sub-brand division company making phones like this, which is the Honor View 10 at $499, fully unlocked, then it kind of makes you wonder, like, do I need to spend $800 for a device when I can spend five? And those two phones have the exact same specs, and so you're getting pretty much the same experience as far as usability and power, web browsing, gaming, all that kind of thing. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little later on. But as we know, Huawei is not allowed to sell phones in the U.S. Their exclusive carrier deal with AT&T and Verizon got just completely crapped all over by the U.S. government. Now, Best Buy, because of governmental pressure, is no longer going to be selling those devices. And so as soon as they sell out of their inventory, they're not going to be replenishing them. So I urge you, if you're still looking to get your hands on a Huawei device, whether it be excuse me, the Mate SE or the Mate 10 Pro, you may want to get down to your local Best Buy. They've already discounted the price. $799 was the full retail price. They've already knocked off $150, so now the phone can be bought at $649.99, which is an excellent price for the Mate 10 Pro. Now, again, you guys, don't sleep on the open box items at Best Buy, man. They have open box inventory, and I wasn't even expecting this. I was at work yesterday, and I got on Best Buy's website, and I was just looking at unlocked mobile phones, and I was checking to see if they were still advertising Huawei phones, because I knew at some point they're going to take them down off of their website, and they still were. And not sure if you guys are familiar with Best Buy, but if you do shop at Best Buy and you shop online, when you click on something that you want to look at, it's going to display the price and everything, and then it's also going to display whether or not they have an open box item, the same item, which it's going to be sold at a discounted price because, it's something that somebody bought and they weren't feeling it for whatever reason and they brought it back to the store. And so, again, they can't turn around and sell a product that's been bought and taken out of the store and returned for the full retail price. And so this previously bought and returned Mate 10 Pro, they had under the open box price for $551.74. Which I think is a damn good price for the Mate 10 Pro. And, of course, these things are Geek Squad certified. The Geek Squad at Best Buy are, the tech geeks, the guys who really know their stuff, and they check over these devices. They check them from top to bottom, turn them on, make sure that, there's no cosmetic damage, make sure that there's no software or hardware damage, make sure that everything is functioning before they put it back on the floor for resale. And of course, me being a tech head, I know exactly what to look for. So, I was able to, have the people at Best Buy, take the phone out of the box, and I was able to look over it myself, turn it on, set it up, make sure everything was functioning, make sure the cameras and everything was functioning, looked over it, made sure that there's no cosmetic damages, because I'm very particular about electronic devices. And typically, I don't like to buy them pre-owned. But some of the deals that you can get is just absolutely ridiculous. And so I just bought this yesterday for $550. So with tax, I paid $607.80. $607.82. Full retail price for this is $799. So with taxes, where I live in Seattle, Washington, taxes are 9.5, 10%. So for me that would have been like $850, maybe $860 in taxes. You see what I mean? So I just saved a bunch of money there by picking this up. Now, really quickly, I wanted to get my hands on these on one of these. I just wanted to wait for the price to drop, and I wasn't sure if I was going to find a deal like that before Best Buy stopped selling them. But I did want to get my hands on this device because you guys already know, man, F the U.S. government and all this BS that they're talking about and all these trumped up charges against Huawei. Huawei makes excellent devices, in my opinion, that can go toe to toe with a lot of these devices that are out here. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion. And quite frankly, I would prefer a Huawei device over the S9, the S9 Plus, over an Apple iPhone or anything like that. You know, that's just my personal preference, man. And I think it's a shame that they're not going to allow these phones to be sold in the U.S. And so, part of saying "F you" to the government is to get my hands on these devices and rock them and push them hard and let people know about them. Let people know that, man, these are excellent devices. F what the government is talking about. F Samsung. F Apple. You know, um, and I mean that in the sense of just brainwashing people into believing that those are the only two types of phones that people need to go with to have a good quality smartphone experience. There's tons of OEMs out here making great devices that you may not hear about because they may not have the money to do the marketing and all the stuff, the promotion that Apple and Samsung do to market and promote their products. But it's not to say that there's not other products out here that are just as good, if not better. You know what I mean? So, all right, man, we're 6 minutes in. Don't mean to talk you guys' ear off. Real quick, spec sheet. We got a 6-inch 1080 by 2160 pixel AMOLED 18 by 9 aspect ratio display. We've got the Kirin 970 chipset. We've got 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage that can be expanded up to 256 gigs. We've got an octa-core CPU. We've got a Mali G72 MP12 GPU. We've got Android 8.0 fresh out of the box. This device is IP67 water and dust resistant. Now, the cameras, we have a 12 megapixel primary camera. We've got a 20 megapixel secondary monochrome lens, and then we've got an 8 megapixel selfie camera. These cameras are Leica branded. So as you know, with the Mate series, Huawei, they love to pair up with Leica, and they have some amazing technology in the camera. The camera is absolutely phenomenal on this phone, man. Phenomenal. Now, battery, we've got a non-removable 4,000 milliamp hour battery. Okay, now we've got USB 3.1, Type C 1.0. Huawei is claiming that this phone can be charged 58% in 30 minutes. All right, and I believe that because my View 10 here, I mean, same technology, and yeah, the charging, it's very fast. It's very fast. It's up there with Dash Charge with OnePlus in them. All right. Now the colors that you can get this in is midnight blue, titanium gray, which is what this color is. You can get it in mocha brown and pink gold. Additional notable features to mention: we've got Bluetooth 4.0. We do have NFC. We have dual stereo speakers on board, and yeah, I mean, we're just this phone is a monster. So again, just take a look at the phone cosmetically. Rear mounted fingerprint sensor, which is where I typically like for my fingerprint sensor to be. You could see on the View 10, the fingerprint sensor is right here on the front. Some people will prefer that, and I understand it either way. I mean, with that kind of thing, it's just a matter of preference. Me, I don't mind picking up my device and unlocking it with the rear mounted fingerprint sensor that's right there. But some people, if their phone is sitting flat on a surface and they want to unlock it and they just want to have the ability to touch it with either their pointer finger or their thumb, whatever they're using to unlock their device, hey, that's what it is. You got some options there. Me personally, I like my fingerprint sensor rear mounted. And so, I like that feature here on the Mate 10 Pro. Now, again, here's our 6-inch AMOLED display. Beautiful display here. Just that AMOLED, I mean, just real deep blacks, clear cocaine whites. If that's a good way to describe the whites. And just all the colors. I mean, the colors on AMOLED displays just seem to be more vibrant. They seem to pop a little more. And so there's really no difference here on the Mate 10 Pro. As I mentioned here, we've got the Huawei branding here on the bottom of the device. Here is our 8 megapixel selfie camera. Here's our ear receiver, which this is also one of the dual speakers. And so this is a dual front-facing speaker. This is where you get a lot of the treble and the clarity from the sound. And then, you get a lot of the bass and the deeper tones from the bottom firing speaker here on the bottom of the device. Now, All right, my bad, y'all. I had to get the phone out of the case real quick. Now, scaling around to the right side of the device, we have our power button, which also doubles as a sleep button, volume rocker up and down. At the top of the device, you see we have our antenna line on the left and the right. We do have a noise canceling microphone right here, and then we do have an infrared sensor right here, an IR blaster. So to me, I mean, just even the implementation of an IR blaster, to me, it's just leaps and bounds over a lot of other devices that are the same price point, if not more expensive than this, that don't have that. You know, I mean, having the ability to turn your cell phone into a universal remote control that can control your TV, your VCR, your DVD player, your audio system, whatever. That is huge, man. That is huge. And if you've never used one before, when you finally do use one of these, you will understand the importance and the significance of it. Try it, I urge you. I dare you. You'll never want to go back to a phone that does not have an IR blaster. All right. Now, scrolling around to the left side of the device, this is where our SIM tray is. So we've got a dual nano SIM here, or we can put a nano SIM and an SD card for memory expansion. As I mentioned, this phone does come out of the box with 128 gigs of onboard storage. A lot of the preloaded applications. I've already loaded my apps on here, but I think with the preloaded apps that come with here, because Huawei, they typically like to put a lot of their bloatware on the device. I think it took up maybe like 6 or 7 gigs, you know. And so even with all my applications that I've got on here, I've still got 110 gigs available, so you still got plenty of space. Now, moving around to the bottom of the device here, we've got our antenna lines here, again, on the left and right. Here's another noise canceling microphone to the left. Here's our Type-C port for charging. Another tiny noise canceling microphone right there by the bottom firing speaker. And then we have the bottom firing speaker right there on the bottom right of the device. Now, as I mentioned, this is the titanium gray color. Beautiful hardware here. This phone is very premium built. As you can see, we've got the Huawei branding right there. Here is our rear mounted fingerprint sensor right here. And then here is those dual Leica lens camera. I believe the bottom camera is the 20 megapixel monochrome sensor, and then the camera on the top is the primary 12 megapixel sensor. Here is our laser autofocus, and here's our dual tone LED flash. And I'm not sure if you guys can see in the glare, but the camera, it seems to be like a different material there, or it doesn't have that dull look that the bottom of the device has at the top, and then along the back and the bottom. It's like a shade. It's like a lighter shade of the titanium gray. It's a very beautiful look to it. This phone is Corning Gorilla Glass on the front and the back, sandwiched in between aluminum, and so the build quality on this device is just absolutely superb. Now, again, you don't want to drop this device. You do not want to drop this device considering that it's glass on the front and the back, or you will be upset because your device will be either in pieces or you have a bunch of nasty looking cracks all over the back and the front. And that's definitely not what you want. All right, so protect your investment, man. Get a screen protector, get it in a case, that's going to protect it from drops and scuffs and things of that nature. And, just try to respect the tech at all costs, man. I understand mistakes and things happen, but that's what a lot of these cases and things are for, to help protect your investment. And so I strongly urge you guys to do so, especially considering a phone that's made of glass on the front and back. The phone definitely has some heft to it. You definitely know that you are holding something. Now it's not like a brick. It's not really heavy, but the fact that it's titanium sandwiched in between two slabs of glass, yeah, the phone's got a little bit of weight to it. You know what I mean? But that shouldn't be a surprise. It's a 6-inch display, 18:9 aspect ratio. Now you can see the phone. It's curvy. It's curvaceous. You know what I'm saying? It's got some curvature to it. You know what I'm talking about? And so that really makes for a much more comfortable feel in the hand when you're holding it, especially around the edges here. You're not getting like the older Sony phones. Kudos to Sony, man. The XZ2 and the XZ2 Compact, man, they got the 18:9 aspect ratio. The phone is rounded rather than squared off. I'm really excited about that, man. That's going to be here in a couple weeks, man. So y'all stay tuned here for that. But then you can see, just looking at the device from side to side, there's a little bit of a curve right there that really helps you hold the phone in your hand and really get a good grip on it. So it's a good feeling device in the hand. Although it is a big device, it still feels really good in the hand. Very easy to manage. You know, people with small hands, I mean, if you're rocking with this device, I can understand how it can appear as though it's a two-handed operated device, which, if that's the case, I mean, you just simply slide across the bottom capacitive keys and bring up your one-handed mode, and there you go for your one-handed mode. And so if you want to get back to the 18:9 aspect ratio, you just simply touch on the outside of it, and boom, it just goes right back to the 18:9 aspect ratio here. Now, all right, now getting back to the fingerprint sensor, as again, it's rear mounted right now, and it is lightning fast. Here's what I'm talking about. Barely touch it. Okay, gonna give it a little tap, and it's unlocked before I even turn the phone over. And let that take, what, like a second, second and a half. Let's try that again. Boom. And it works every time. I mean, these fingerprint sensors just work phenomenally, and they work 100% of the time. They're extremely accurate, and they get the device open in a hurry. You know what I mean? So, again, Android 8.0 fresh out of the box. Scroll down once, that gets you to your notifications. Then that gets you to your quick toggles. You've got a slew of toggles out there that you can up there that you can toggle and customize. And so you guys are familiar with that. Hit the little pin there, and that's how you can kind of navigate these things around and put them in the places where you want them to, and then just hit back, and it saves your setting. All right, now go ahead and go to settings. And again, as I mentioned, we've got an Android 8.0 Oreo fresh out of the box, and so we have that more consolidated settings look. We no longer have that humongous list. A lot of things have been placed in different categories here, so you really have to pay attention to where certain things are. But I like how clean and organized of a look that this is with Oreo. And it's actually, it's really making it difficult for me to, use devices that don't have Oreo, because there's a difference between Oreo and nougat, and some people say that there's not really too many differences, but it's like if you really dig deep and just look at things the way that they look, things have been reformatted, things have been consolidated. I mean, it's a much more clean experience, and it provides better user experience as well. And so I'm a big fan of that. Now, on this device, I mean, what's typical for any Huawei device, there's, EMUI is on top of Android 8.0, and so, their own skin comes, with a bunch of different features and functions and things of that nature. So, one of the things that I like that you can do is you can change the capacitive keys right there. And so, again, I mean, I'm a lefty, but I navigate all my devices in my right hand, and so I like having my back button on the far right, my home button in the middle, and then my recents key on the left. And then there's also a little arrow too if you want to get rid of those and just take full advantage of that 18:9 aspect ratio, that full screen, that full 6-inch display. Then you can see at the bottom the capacitive keys are gone, and you can actually see the wording for the applications that are on the bottom of the display. And then just to get that back up, you just simply swipe up, and then there those buttons are. You know what I mean? So you can get rid of them by tapping on that little arrow right there, or you can just swipe up and bring them back up. Another thing too that I like too is when the device is locked, if you want to access some quick toggles, you also swipe up, and then you've got voice recorder, flashlight, calculator, I can't remember what that is, and then you got QR code scanning, play. Oh, that gets me to entering my code. But I know sometimes on the lock screen, if you swipe, then it also gives you different wallpapers and things to look at that are very pleasing to the eyes, by the way. But nonetheless, let's take it back to settings, and we've also got some touch gestures. And just really quickly, if we go to About Phone, this is where you can see, if you can see that, EMUI version 8.0, Android version 8.0. We've got 6 gigs of RAM right there, so internal storage, like I said, I mean, we've got 128 gigs total, and I've used a little bit, and so I still have 110 gigabytes free. And you can see the Android security patch February 1st, 2018, and so I believe that is the latest security patch. And so just wanted to give you guys some confirmation that this phone is running on the things that I mentioned. Now, if you want to adjust the color temperature and things of that nature, you just get into settings and click on display, and there is your brightness, and you can turn that on to automatic or turn that off. You can get into color temperature here, and that brings up just a couple of different options that you can choose from. I've got it on default, or you can put it on warm, which kind of gives you more of a yellowish tint to it, or cold, it kind of gives you a little more of that bluish tint. I'd like to keep it on default to where it's just right in the middle. And so we'll go ahead and hit OK. We've got home screen style. So we've got standard, which is more of an iPhone type of look where you can just have all your apps on different screens that you can scroll back and forth to. Or you can have an app drawer where you can just have nothing on the screen, and or just, apps that you may utilize the most. And then you get into your app drawer and you can scroll up and down. Okay, so I personally like to have it on standard mode and just have all of my applications just there where I can just scroll and access them. So that's just a personal preference of mine. Then you also have the ability to change the screen resolution. And so you've got HD 1440 by 720, or you've got Full HD Plus, the 2160 by 1080, which is on high. So, either one of those settings, I mean, to me, the screen looks absolutely stunning. Of course, if you're trying to preserve some battery life, then I would urge you to put it on HD Plus 720. You're still going to have a crystal clear, very sharp, detailed looking display. And so, but it's good to be able to have that ability, if you're trying to, preserve, some battery. But again, as I mentioned, the battery in this bad boy is 4,000 milliamps, and so you're definitely not going to run through this battery quickly, even if you are a heavy user. So, but it's good that you've got that ability to be able to change the screen resolution. All right, now, so if we scroll down to Smart Assistants, this is where we have system navigation. So this is where you can click on and you can change the configuration of your buttons. If you got navigation bar and navigation dock, and so if you click on that, then you have just a few different options that you can choose to where you can have your buttons customized. And then the navigation bar here is actually where you can disable that little feature where you can just swipe down and hit the little arrow and get rid of those keys and swipe them back up. So I've turned that off now, but I like to have it on just because every now and then I like to take full advantage of the 6-inch display. So I like to keep that on. And again, here is where you can change your button configuration. And then the navigation dock is just a little dock that you can have on the and commands that having those 3 capacitive keys at the bottom of the screen can do. But rather than pushing on those buttons, you can just do it with the little navigation dock that's on the screen just with your finger. So that's a pretty neat little option as well. Now we've got one-handed UI, which I've already showed you guys that. We've got motion control where you can flip the phone over to mute it. If it's ringing, you can pick it up to reduce the ringing. So if it's ringing and your ringtone's really loud and you don't want to disturb the piece, you can just pick it up as it's ringing, and it'll tone down the volume of the ringer until you answer it or hit ignore. We have the ability to raise the phone to our ear to answer the device. And then we've got the knuckle gestures as well, which, smart screenshot. And so, use your knuckle to take a normal scrolling screenshot, capture part of the screen, or record a video clip of your on-screen actions. I've got that on, but I typically don't use that. But it's like you can just take your knuckle and draw a circle to take a screenshot. Or you can draw letters to open different apps. And so you can draw a C on the screen to access the camera. You can draw an E to access Chrome. You can draw the letter M for music. You can draw a W for weather. And I believe those are customizable. So you can, set those to control different apps if you didn't want them to control the defaulted apps that there are. But that's a neat little feature. And then you've got split screen gesture, which you can just simply take your knuckle and draw and press firm on the screen. Don't crack it. You don't want to press down on it and break it, but firm enough to where, it can pick up on the fact that you just swiped across the screen and it'll take you to split screen mode. And so that's a gesture that you can utilize to get into your split screen if you want to do a couple of different things at once. So we do have glove mode. So, if it's cold and you got gloves on and you got your phone in your hand and you need to access some stuff, a lot of times gloves aren't the same texture as fingers, and so if you try to use a glove to navigate your phone, you'll have a hell of a hard time doing it and end up having to take the glove off anyway to navigate your device, and your fingers are going to freeze. Well, with gloves mode, you can just go ahead and enable that, and it makes the screen much more sensitive so that you'll be able to navigate your device even if you're wearing a glove. I mean, so that's another cool feature to have. But now the camera. Oh man, the camera. Oh man. All right, man. Selfie. It's cracking, y'all. As you can see, lightning fast shutter speed right there. Let's move it around to the rear camera, and let's just go ahead and take a quick photo of the View 10. Oh man, look at that. Look at that, man. And you can see lightning fast shutter speed right there. And of course, I've got watermarks set up because I take so many different photos with so many different phones, and a lot of times I get them mixed up when I'm trying to put together these dedicated camera videos, and I definitely don't want to be misleading and do a camera video for a device and put the wrong pictures that were taken with another phone on that video. So I just set up the watermarks, just so it can remind me that, hey, okay, I took this phone with the Mate 10 Pro, or I took it with the View 10, or I took it with the new Mobile G3, or my Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus, or whatever I'm rocking with, you know what I mean? But as you can see, the camera on this phone is an absolute beast. And you just swipe up, and that takes you to Pro mode right there. Swipe down, and you're back in standard view. Swipe to the right, and this accesses all the modes. And so you've got photo, monochrome, video, HDR, 3D panorama, night shot, light painting, time lapse, slow-mo, filter, watermark, document scan, and then when you click on more, then the only other option that you can download is good food. And so you can download that, and you'll have a setting if you want to take photos of food, and the camera will adjust to those settings. Now, this phone also has AI technology, and what that means is it has the ability to recognize what it's shooting at, while you're in the viewfinder shooting at a subject, and it will adjust the color settings to give you the best looking picture possible. And that feature is also on the View 10 as well. And as you can see, the View 10, every time I raise it up, it unlocks the device because the View 10 has facial recognition. And I was almost sure that the Mate 10 Pro had facial recognition as well, but it does not. And so I'm going to save that for a different video, because one of the things that I found interesting since I've been playing with both of these devices side by side is I found that a lot of features and functions that you would think be on the Mate 10 Pro here, but are not, they are actually on the Honor View 10 here. And, the Honor, we know, is a sub-brand division of Huawei, and it's meant to be their mid-range caliber phone, if you will, even though there's a lot of devices that they have that are really good and they're up in mid-range and flagship territory. And obviously the View 10 is, in my opinion, meant to be a flagship killer, taking on the OnePlus 5T and any other phone that's out right now. As I mentioned, these devices, they have the same specs. I mean, the View 10 here, it's got the Kirin 970 processor, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage. I mean, this phone, the user experience, I feel, for both of these devices is going to be the same, because they have the same internal hardware. They have different builds. The camera on the View 10 is absolutely phenomenal, but it's not Leica branded. And so, and then, the build is just a little bit different. I feel like the View 10 is a little bit bigger. It's a little wider. It's not built with glass. It's a full aluminum unibody. So some people may prefer that over the glass. And it's a cheaper cost, and it's just offering more things, strangely, than the Mate 10 Pro. And I kind of find that interesting because it's like, okay, well, why would the sub brand division, offer more and be of a greater value than one of the major flagships that Huawei was touting? And now we know that their main flagship is the P20 Pro, which I feel like is the best device in the world right now. But nonetheless, you would think that the device that is, the flagship or one of the flagships and cost more would have more features and functions than the device that is of lesser cost that is more to target the mid-range. But that's not necessarily the case. So I'm going to do a separate video talking about some of the differences between these phones. So you guys make sure that you tune into that. And it's interesting because I'm only going to keep one of these devices. I'm not going to keep them both. Okay, I'm only going to keep one of them. And so I'm still trying to decide which one I'm going to hang into, because I just thought that once I got the Mate 10 Pro that it was just going to be a very easy decision to go ahead and get rid of the View 10. But after having them side by side and playing with them, I'm not sure, man. I mean, the Mate 10 Pro may be the one that that I end up not keeping. So yeah, that's all I got, for the thoughts and impressions for the Mate 10 Pro made by Huawei. Very glad that I, was able to get my hands on this device to feature it here on the channel. I know a lot of you guys, wanted to see this device here on the channel at Pristine Tech, and so it finally made its way here. Shout out to the person who bought the phone and returned it to Best Buy. I'm not sure if you just weren't feeling the phone, or you're caught up in all this government stuff and the government has persuaded you to go with another option. But whatever the case, you enabled me to get this phone at a much, much more reasonable price. So I thank you. You know what I mean? I thank you. But yeah, so if you guys like this video, be sure to live on that like button. Smash that like button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one. And definitely stay tuned because I've got tons of more content to come. Make sure you hit that notification bell so whenever I upload, you guys will be the first ones to get notified. You can check out the content. If you like it, if you hate it, let me know. You can be the first to leave me some feedback or some comments, and I'll do my best to get back in contact with you. All right? So until the next video, you guys already know, please stay safe, get spiritually fit. We're definitely living in the last days. I ain't got to preach that to you. Look at all this madness and chaos that's going on around us. We are definitely living in revelations. All right? Don't be scared. Just get saved. That's all you got to do, and you'll be all right. All right? Keep it pristine in all you do. Catch you in the next video. Peace.